Bring me a burp.
When the sun comes up on America, across open fields, small towns, and city streets, a new day begins. And here, we rise with it. This is where hard work meets headlines, where truth matters, and America wakes up informed.
An interesting week.
They all are.
This is your country. This is your morning. This is Daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. America, let's do it together.
Love you, Ivy.
Love you too.
And it starts right now.
All right, welcome to it as we head into another big day here on Daybreak. Nice to see you. It's been a big 24 hours for the team here, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom, working every single day in the relentless pursuit of truth. Let's get rolling. A lot of big news to cover today. Number one, President Trump says he may pull his nomination of Todd Blanche to be the Attorney General, at least for a while. I told you after being in that hearing a couple of weeks ago that Blanche would not be confirmed, and he won't, at least not now. Number two, in a major announcement that could have far-reaching implications for the Middle East, President Trump says Hamas has now agreed to completely disarm, setting the stage for new leadership. I'll explain that. It's up on Truth Social. And number three, I had the opportunity yesterday to interview President Trump for about a half an hour. This morning we're going to share some of that interview while we take your phone calls. Later on Real America's Voice, the entire interview, 28 minutes, will air in its entirety and commercial-free during my afternoon program, America's Voice Live. It happens at 3 o'clock on Real America's Voice. Make sure you tune in. Set your DVR. Find it on my YouTube channel, or just look up Steve Gruber on YouTube. Become a subscriber for free and hear the wide-ranging discussion. So let's kick off. Free Speech, Free for All Friday, powered by the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. 877-310-9966. Brock's going to line up the calls. Remember to keep it clean. I don't want to talk about other hosts. I don't care. But first, a quick taste of the conversation I had with the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, yesterday. And here he says, take a bet that I made. All right, listen. National security, obviously an area I'd like to ask you about. You just mentioned Space Force. They mocked you. Right. They mocked you about Space Force when you created it. But of course, as soon as you were gone, they embraced it, right? Now you're focused on the Golden Dome missile system, similar to what's being used in Israel and the Middle East. And here's another question. You're also still looking at Greenland. I made a prediction on this program that before you left office, that Greenland would be under our operational control. It's still incredibly important to defending the Western Hemisphere, isn't it?
Yeah, you'll be right if you took that. Yeah, you'll be right. No, they want to do something very important. Greenland's important, from our standpoint, not from their standpoint, but from our standpoint. Yeah, you should make that bet, actually.
I did make that bet, and I think it's incredibly important. I did make that bet. And in fact, on Monday here on the program, I'm going to go back to the archives and pull the conversations. I had a couple of them. Because I said, it's not that we're going to invade Greenland or buy Greenland, however it works out, but it will be under the operational control of the United States of America. And he says I'm right. That's just one little tease forward of the interview with the President of the United States that I had. I just have to say thank you to the President for being so generous with his time. We got started a few minutes late, and he still gave me 28 minutes. And trust me, in this business, that is pretty remarkable. It is Free Speech, Free for All Friday, 877-310-9966. Your calls coming in from all over the country today. Ron is the first man on the line today to kick things off from the great state of Tennessee. Ron, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. I'm looking forward to the interview. Trump, when he says he's right about everything. The question I have for you is Fauci, I won't even call him doctor. Can he be liable? Can't other countries hold him or charge him as a criminal? Can he be extradited?
Now, that's an interesting question, a twist that I haven't heard yet, Ron. That's pretty interesting because people talk about he did this, about lockdowns of schools and closing bars and restaurants and ruining businesses and the mental health damage to children in this country from the lockdowns that he pushed to have happen, and in fact bragged about in his own diaries when it happened in California, and then New York followed suit. But his voice was global. Ron, you're exactly right. His voice was global. Could another country try to indict him? I don't know. Generally, we don't play those games in America, and we shouldn't change the rules because we don't like this guy. And we don't like this guy. But I'll have to explore that a little bit. That's a terrific question, Ron. Terrific question. Great way to start the day. Smart people out there. Let's see. I've got Josh in Ohio on the line. Josh, how are you today?
I'm doing all right. It's great to talk to you, Steve. Man, I wake up with you every morning. You're a rock star, brother.
Thanks, my friend. What's on your mind?
My whole thing, well, my whole thing, and I love Ivy too. You guys are rocking, man. I'm right here, just south of Sandusky in Ohio, and man, it's nice to know I got a good neighbor. So anyway, I wanted to get to business, if that's all right, if you got time.
Yep.
This whole thing, I mean, Fauci's going to get taken care of, and really all we need to do is just drop him off at the ICC court, right? You know, I mean, let everyone pick at him.
Yeah,
I
see,
mean,
there's
honestly,
the problem.
I mean, he's
we don't
not our
recognize
problem.
the ICC.
I mean, he's got a stupid freaking pardon that was from a guy that didn't even know where he was. I mean, just drop his butt off at ICC and let the World Court deal with him, and let every other country pick at him. They're just like those dogs. He wrap their heads up and put stuff around, bugs around their head and stuff. Just let them do that,
All right, Josh.
So,
greatly appreciate it. Here's the thing, though: we don't recognize the ICC, nor should we. The Democrats think we should be part of the International Criminal Court. We should never be part of the International Criminal Court. We are the United States of America. We don't answer to other people. We don't submit to their jurisdiction because they don't have any over me or my God-given rights. That's what Make America Great Again means to me. Standing tall, being Americans, being proud of who we are, and bending the knee to no one except God. Let's go to Mariah in South Dakota. Mariah, good morning.
Hey, Steve. How are you doing today?
I am well. I've had a busy 24 hours. How are you?
I hear you there. Yeah, I just wanted to touch base on the whole Fauci thing. I wonder if our Senator Thune is in on the same sorts of deals. He called me a conspiracy theorist in 2020 when I wrote him a letter about massive election fraud in South Dakota. That's never been fixed.
It's true, isn't it? Even in red states. One of the states that was compromised the most was Alaska. I mean, who would think that Alaska,
yes.
Small population like South Dakota, small population, big piece of real estate. But the truth of the matter is the Chinese Communist Party came in. Go ahead.
They did. And both of our states, Alaska and South Dakota and many others, had more voters registered than voters in South Dakota in 2020 and beyond. So we've got to get it under control and pass the Stinkin' Save America Act.
Mariah, thank you for the phone call. Greatly appreciate you. And for everybody else, 877-310-9966. Again, I'll have some more snippets of the interview I did with President Donald Trump yesterday. And he did me a favor, a big favor. Last night, didn't even notice until today, but I'll tell you about it coming up here on Daybreak. 877-310-9966. I'll be right back. All right. Let's just jump right back into it on a Free Speech, Free for All Friday. So I woke up and my phone had a bunch of messages on it. I'm like, gee, what's going on? Did something big happen? What happened was the president put out a Truth Social post about our song One Nation. Check out this great new song from Steve Gruber and the Freedom Project. You know, you're having a pretty good day when the president is putting up social media posts about you and your work and your efforts. So we've had a pretty good few days. Let's just say that. Ivy and I are just having a pretty good roll right here. Let's go back to the phone lines. 877-310-9966 is the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. Brian is in Michigan. Brian.
Hey, good morning, Steve and Ivy. Love you both. Calling in on a Patriot Mobile line.
Nice.
Highlight of my life clearly was having a meal with both of you up here in East Jordan. I love both of you guys. I have a question about why we never hear about any more election fraud issues here in the state of Michigan. We have...
Well, I will tell you this, Brian.
Time. We have Antrim County up here in the middle of nowhere. Nobody talks about that, right? And we got Biden that shows up here eating ice cream at that orchard. You know what I'm talking about there.
Yeah, I do.
Nobody talks about this stuff.
Yeah. Well, here's the good news, Brian. Thank you for the phone call. Pleasure meeting you too, by the way. East Jordan, nice city in northern Michigan. During the interview today, the president and I discuss the fraud in Michigan, the Save America Act. And I give him one more suggestion that he says, wow, Gruber, that's a really good idea about election integrity, about what we can do right now, what he can do as president right now that could have an impact on the elections and keeping non-citizens from voting. It's only part of the picture, but it's a big part of the picture. Non-citizens being prevented to vote. He and I discussed that. I put forth an idea, and he loved it. So there you go. And by the way, the idea came from a listener here on the program. I'll give credit where credit is due, but I was able to share it with the president. He loved it. Let's go to Robert, Dallas, Texas this morning. Robert, how are you?
Good morning, Steve. I love you. Love you, your wife, and your ideals. I don't know if you watched Natalie Winters yesterday, or I'm sure you did or heard about it, man. I couldn't believe all the stuff she was talking about China, the invasion, our generals going over, senators, mayors being bought, all this stuff. And, you know, after Mr. Trump had that little speech about China fraud and getting in, election interference, and they asked Rubio right after he came out of a meeting what he thought about it, and he said there was just more important things. And can you help me with that, man? I don't understand it. Why didn't he attack him?
Well, I'm going to say that I agree with you, Robert. I was at the White House when Trump gave that speech here a couple of weeks ago, Thursday night prime time. It's been 2 weeks now, unbelievably. And what concerns me is this, because I don't agree with the president on everything. Why do we have 700,000, give or take, Chinese students in this country? Why? I don't think we should. Who has been fired? Who has been investigated? Is there a grand jury impaneled somewhere to pursue those that were involved with election fraud? And as far as the Chinese go, it's a flaw in our system because we allow them to come in. They spend money on the national news media networks. They spend money elsewhere on social media, TikTok, an obvious example of what they do to influence elections. They don't just infiltrate and try to make changes and play fraud games. They also have piles of money they use to influence elections. It's a big concern. I will give you that, and thank you so much for the phone call. Let's go to Ken in Pennsylvania. Ken, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Steve. My question today is, why hasn't anyone, or call me or anybody on that panel, interviewed Dr. Birx or subpoenaed her for her knowledge and everything that she did? As Rush Limbaugh used to call her, the scarf.
I believe she's next. Look, they've pulled back the curtain. The one guy in all of this that's honest is Robert Redfield, former director of the CDC. Ivy and I had a long conversation with him on our Forgotten America podcast, which you can find on YouTube, by the way, at the Steve Gruber channel. Robert Redfield said, I was wrong. I was wrong about all of it. I was wrong about the disease. I was wrong about the jab. I was wrong. He's the only guy with the integrity to say, we got it wrong. And then you've got Anthony Fauci sitting there. And we played the clip yesterday from 2022 when he said, I'll answer any questions anytime, anywhere. I've been in front of Congress hundreds of times, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as it gets tight, he has 7 lawyers there. One got thrown out, so he was left with 6 lawyers in the room. He wouldn't answer a question about the color of his tie or the color of the rug or the color of his socks. He wouldn't answer a question about any damn thing after bragging that he would say anything at any time to anyone. Anthony Fauci is a criminal, I believe. Anyhow, thank you for the phone call. Greatly appreciate you. Appreciate all of you, in fact. Did you know that about 70% of your immune system lives in your gut, and many people have an imbalance without realizing it? Some probiotics may help prevent and manage some diseases, support intestinal health, boost immune function, and aid in cancer prevention. Longevity contains a whopping 2 billion CFUs of probiotics per serving. Longevity is a complete nutritional support that gives you everything you need to age well. All you need to do is go to longevitywellness.co, enter the promo code Gruber at checkout for a special discount. This is going to make you feel great. Ivy found a new way to use it, by the way. She puts it in her coffee every morning. She loves it. It's a great way to get started in the day. And this is nutrition that comes from the field, not from the laboratory. It's the real deal, and it's for kids that are 8 years old, people that are 85 years old, in the middle. You're going to love this product. And send me an email when you do. LongevityWellness.co. Promo code is Gruber for a special discount. More Free for All Friday after this. So much to talk about. We'll have a long couple of clips coming up in the next hour of my interview yesterday with President Trump. You're going to want to hear all of it. But it is so long. He gave me so much time. We can't air it all in this program today. So we've decided to run the entire 28-minute interview in its entirety commercial free today at 3 o'clock on America's Voice Live right here on Real America's Voice. You want to hear the conversation. There's some big news items in there, some things you've heard before, and worth every minute as far as I'm concerned. Let's go to Kevin in San Diego waiting on the line. Kevin, good morning. Kevin, are you there?
Kevin's gone.
All right, let's go to Pat in Ohio. Pat, Kevin's loss is your win.
Hello, I'm just wondering if why don't they have in Congress, everybody in Congress identify by their name as to how they're voting on bills?
Right. That's true. We know how everybody votes on everything.
Exactly.
What's your point?
And then the other thing is, why can't we identify the Democratic Socialists as neo-socialists or national socialists, as the Nazis were called?
Maybe we should, Pat. Greatly appreciate the call. Thank you for being here today. Of course, you can see how everybody votes. We keep track of all of that. Joe is in South Carolina. Joe, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Morning. I can't wait for 3 o'clock this afternoon for the show. But really, I think some people want to know, where's Mitch McConnell?
Good Lord, good question. Nobody knows. It's weekend at Bernie's. He's been gone since the 14th of June. He's been gone 6 weeks. He's not representing Kentucky.
I know. If I was gone that
not
long,
doing his
people
job.
would be looking for me.
Like, where's Waldo, right?
I love the show.
Where's Waldo?
You take care.
Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciate it. Where is Mitch McConnell? Is he alive? Anybody know? Can somebody check? I'd sure like to see a proof of life picture. The picture they put out, of course, was a picture from a couple of years ago. There is no proof of life. We don't know where he is. We don't know what's going on with him. Anyhow, we'll take a break on Free Speech, Free for All Friday, 877-310-9966. We'll be back. All right, let's just jump right back into it on a Free Speech, Free for All Friday, brought to you by my good friends at Patriot Mobile. They power the Common Sense Hotline. If you go to patriotmobile.com, use the promo code Gruber, you'll get a free month of service. If you're not already a subscriber, I say, why not? Get with a company that supports your values like Patriot Mobile. Let's see here. Pete is in Tennessee this morning. Pete, good morning.
Yes, sir. Very quickly, three things. Number one, people talk about term limits and the cognitive test for these Congress and Senate, and they keep saying they won't pass that. Why can't each state pass their own? Forget about the rest of the country. Do your own. Get something going. Number two, on the price of this gas, some places I have found out that if you have a Muslim buy one of those places, a grocery store / selling gas, all the others have to buy from them, and they intentionally raise the price up. It's a way to funnel money or something. Okay?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
The last thing, and I'm off. Why am I not seeing more about there was some herds down in Mexico or in South America headed up here waiting on the midterms? I can't remember the guy's name, but he's on.
We'll figure it out. Look, the border's closed. I'm going to tell you that. The border's closed. It's never going to be what it was under Joe Biden because the Democrats know how wildly unpopular it is, that they have been outed without question, that Donald Trump has not had a single illegal alien crossing in 15 months. There have been no gotaways, no people running into the country, no removal of razor wire, none of that. They can sit and wait in Central and South America. They'll be waiting a very, very long time. Let's go to Harry in the state of Mississippi. Harry, how are you? Well, Harry? Brock?
Go to Barbara.
All right. Let's go to Barbara in Michigan. Barbara, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, Steve, for everything you do. I watch your program all the time. I want to comment about how illegals get driver's license in Michigan, and of course, they become registered voters. No one ever talks about it.
Just like happens in New Jersey. Just like we've heard about non-citizens voting. I had a conversation, and when you hear the interview with President Trump, you're going to hear us talk about that exact problem and something that he can do about it. Go ahead.
Well, I hope somebody does something about it because I've been a Michigander my whole life, and I love this state, and it has just gone down. It's horrendous.
Yeah, that's what Democrat leadership does, or lack of leadership. Thank you for the phone call, Barbara. Greatly appreciate you. Look, if you tell illegal aliens, go ahead, cast a ballot illegally. Get caught, you're deported. No questions asked. Don't care if you've ever committed another crime. Don't care if you've been an upstanding citizen. If you vote illegally, you're stealing from an American voter. You're doing something that is strictly prohibited by federal law. You vote in an American election, you're gone. You're out. You are deported. Period. No exceptions. Let's go to Cindy in Pennsylvania. Cindy, how are you?
Good morning, Steve. I'm wonderful. I hope I phrased this well enough. And by the way, I love your show. Watch it every morning. I'm awake to watch. And hello to Ivy, too. My concern is about seating these members in Congress. I hope I phrase this that you can understand and get me an answer. When they take an oath to the Constitution to uphold and defend, we know that the socialists, the communists, are not going to do that. They're not going to uphold. They're not going to defend our Constitution. They just want to obliterate it. So is there a way that we can either keep them from being seated or not seat them? That's my question.
You know, it's a good question.
About it.
It's a good question, Cindy. Thank you for the call. The caller here just a moment ago said they should take a cognitive test. I think you should take a civics test. If you can't pass a basic civics test about American government and how it functions, how can you be a seated member of Congress? If you don't know the Constitution, if you can't tell specific important facts about the Constitution, why would you be sitting in Congress talking about something you know nothing about? People that come to this country legally have to study this stuff. They know more about the Constitution and American government and our founding documents and principles than people that were born here. And that's pretty disappointing. Harry is back. We got Harry figured out from Mississippi. Harry, welcome to the program.
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my call, Steve. I love your show. I love the honesty there. And the reason I wanted to call is because I don't understand how these people come over here. They're not even born here in the USA. I'm 75 years old. And these people, I mean, our country's changing so much. And thank God that Donald Trump's in there right now. But after he gets out, I hope Republicans get it again. But I don't understand how that they can get voted in, become mayors like Mamdani in New York. Now Michigan, they got this big thing going up there for the Democrat socialists or whatever they want to call themselves, and it's gone crazy. And then I heard the president speak about a month ago or so, or 2 months. Ilhan Omar was sitting there in the congregation, and just slandering him, and she got by with it. I don't understand that.
A lot of things that make us scratch our heads these days, isn't there, Harry? A lot of things. The country is changing, but it's not too late. This is a country that's built on laws, not men. Built on Christianity, not men. Built on principles and an idea, not men. People need to get back in touch with that. And I think we are. This idea that the Democrats are going to run away with the midterms is not true, my friends. Make sure you vote. Get your friends to vote. Are the elections perfect? No, but I can guarantee you this. There's one guaranteed way for your vote not to count. That's if you never cast it. Keep that in mind. Got time for another one here. I think I've got room for Clinton in California. Clinton, how are you today?
Hello, Steve. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk
I just have a question about the, thanks, yeah. My question's about the Save America Act. It just looks like buffoonery up there. The reason they can't get anything done is beyond me. Except I was reading that part of it is they want to tack on an extension to the American Spy Powers Act. I just wanted to find out what you know about that.
About which act?
The American Spy Powers Act. They want to extend it into 2027.
I'll have to look into that. I've got to be honest with you. I'm not familiar with it. I don't know everything, but I sure try to keep up on everything to keep you guys as informed as I possibly can. So, Spy Powers Act, I'll look into it. I'm not familiar with it enough to know at this point. I still got Dwayne, Steve, Ginger, another Steve. Calls are stacked up. 877 310 9966. It is the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. Now, after the break, are we ready for a third party in this country? Got a guest coming up saying that there's room for a third party. I'm just not convinced now is the time. Right now, we have an insurgence of communists and socialists. They must be stopped. The only way they're going to be stopped is at the ballot box by you and me and millions of others. That's a fact. If you don't vote, you're forfeiting the only chance you have to stop them. Don't you dare sit home. I'll be back. All right, is it time for an alternative to everything you have? Obviously, you see the Democrats in this big shift left, very unpopular. In a year where Democrats should have an easy time winning the midterms, they're not. And in fact, some forecasts now show the Republicans holding on to the House and adding 1 or 2 seats in the United States Senate. Does that happen? I don't know yet. Meanwhile, you've got Republicans like Mitch McConnell that have been absent for 6 weeks, doing nothing, and John Thune not getting the Save America Act put through, as more than 80% of Americans want. My next guest is Jennifer Esteban, president and co-founder of United Independents and the executive director of the Independent National Convention, where she helps lead a growing movement to strengthen independent political leadership. Well, is it time for a third party? Jennifer, welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Steve.
So tell me about this convention you're holding and what's happening and what you hope to accomplish.
Well, first of all, what you were saying earlier, I completely agree with you. I think that it's not about just anybody coming in with a third party, but making sure that whatever comes in as the replacement is something that really, goes with the people, and that it's not communism. And I think what we're seeing is so many people have been so upset with the two-party system that there's something that's going to be breaking out. And I think that's what we're seeing with the socialist movement. And I think that's what we're seeing with Mandami. But if there's something that's going to break out, then how do we make sure that we have real American representation that's also not communist in there? But we have to, I think, look at the fact that people are upset with what's with the two parties. I think that people are very upset clearly with the Biden administration, everything that happened between 21 and 24. And then, a lot of the Maha people and a lot of independents threw their support around Trump. And then there's a lot of reasons for them to feel betrayed. There's the Epstein files that didn't get released. There is the
Well, in fairness, the Epstein files did get released. The Epstein files are out there by the millions. The Democrats weren't able to pin it on Donald Trump as they tried time and again. Another big waste of time and energy that didn't go anywhere. But carry on.
But with so many redactions, and I think people really wanted transparency, whether or not the propaganda makes them, look for one thing or another. Clearly, we have so many problems with the way people are interpreting information. And of course, you've got people trying to point bad things on the other side. But, there's a lot of people for good reason.
But here's my question, Jennifer. Here's my question. How do you get there? Because you can't just say, well, we need a third party. We had third party candidates run in 1992, 1980. Of course, Ross Perot, was it Anderson in 80? But we've only ever, in the last 125 years, we've had one competitive election where there were 3 candidates on the ballot. Woodrow Wilson won. What a disaster that was for the country. Teddy Roosevelt came in second, and the sitting president, Taft, came in third. Only time in American history a sitting president came in third. But I agree with you. You go back to the election of Abraham Lincoln, there were 4 candidates that were on the ballot and got electoral college votes. I think the country would be better served if we had more opportunities, more people to choose from. But how do you get there? You have to establish some sort of party. You have to fly under some flag. So what flag would that be, Jennifer?
I think that it might not even be a party necessarily. I think that our founding fathers actually warned us against having a party or especially getting stuck in a two-party system. So one, questioning, do we even need a party? A party gets you ballot access, and it gets you, access to infrastructure that's been built for a long time. But what if people could just run without needing a party? So is it even about a party?
You can't. You can do that. People are on the ballot as independents all the time. I've never belonged to any political party, nor will I ever. That's just who I am. I'll never be part of any political party because, and you're talking about George Washington warning us against political parties. I agree with his sentiments. He was right. People put party over country, party over honesty. I mean, when these people go to Washington and enrich themselves and go and make $175,000 for 5 years and come out being worth 10 or 12 or $15 million. There's something terribly wrong with that system, Jennifer. You're exactly right. But in my view of the world, you have to fly your flag somewhere because otherwise you're an independent. And independents go, well, they're like herding cats. Some go here, some go there. In order to consolidate, you've got to have a flag of some sort, the American Party, the Republic Party. I don't know what you call it. The Common Sense Party. We could use more common sense in Washington, D.C., that's for sure. Anyhow, I'll give you the last word. I like your idea, but I think it has to coalesce around one set of principles and ideas, and that's how you move forward. That's just my way of thinking. Last word to you.
I agree. I think that we should be holding up the American flag, and I think that we should be always looking at the Constitution, not as a living document that's supposed to be consistently rewritten, but one that's supposed to be honored and looked at as what were the original founding fathers really intending to do for this country. And that's why we're inviting everybody who feels the same to join us at the Independent National Convention. You know, we're here to show fresh perspectives, authenticity, and people who are working nonstop to build a replacement for this two-party system that's leaving us all stuck, that's destroying our country, and that really puts America first, that really puts Americans first, our interests first, and that, you know, really loves and celebrates this country.
When and where is the convention?
It's in Washington, D.C., September 23rd, 4th, and 5th.
All right, Jennifer. Nice talking to you. Come back anytime. We'll debate the politics of the day. I like the fact that you're willing to try something different. I just think there's more work to be done to get to where I think you want to be. Thank you for the conversation.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate it. What do you guys think? I think she's right. I think people are, well, they're not going to vote for communists. They're fed up with the rhinos. More independence? Should it be the independent party? What should it be, folks? Because it can't just be nebulous. All right, after the break, more of your phone calls on this Free Speech Free for All Friday. Dwayne and Steve and Ginger and others will be joining me. And don't forget, coming up in the next hour, we'll also see part of my conversation with President Trump yesterday. Long conversation, a lot of topics covered. It's coming up straight ahead. All right, it is a free speech, free for all Friday, powered by Patriot Mobile's Common Sense Online, 877-310-9966. Dwayne is in Austin, Texas. Dwayne, good morning.
Yeah, Steve, I recently rewatched the old movie War Games, and it made me wonder, can rogue AI do that same kind of thing to our defense or economic computer systems?
Yes. Yes, that's the problem. You see, you just heard the story, I think it was last week, where the AI got out of the sandbox, as they call it, a sandbox being a place where it's supposed to be isolated, but somehow its electronic tentacles got outside of the sandbox, penetrated other computer systems, hacked them, if you will, learned along the way. Oh, it's frightening. It's frightening because here's the problem. If it gets into the military, let's say you've got all these drones, you know, Flock is going to put up these things called Alpha Flock cameras, which will be flying around. How long until they have, you know, non-lethal weaponry to stop crime? And from there, it's not too far of a step to really consider the idea that you have lethal drones. You have lethal drones in the military now. Why not use lethal drones to control you, Dwayne? Look at yourself. You look like a criminal, Dwayne. What are you doing? People want to know. You see, it's that kind of nonsense that scares the daylights out of me, sir. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your insight.
My pleasure. Yeah, I don't trust AI. I think these data centers are there to power something nefarious. They're not there to hold my pictures. Well, it's all this ChatGPT. Well, then, you know, do something different. Well, China's going to win. China's not going to win. Our military is up to speed on all of these things. Real quickly, let's get to Steve in West Virginia.
Good morning, Steve. Thanks for taking my call again. I had a quick statement and a question.
Make it quick. We got 30 seconds.
Dr. Fauci and the Democrats, I believe they tried to exterminate everybody that would take the shot. And the reason being, they had 30 million people coming in to replace us. Now, if they want to deny this fact, they could prove me wrong. Let Joe Biden.
Here's the, you know, I've heard that theory, and I got to leave it there. I got to leave it there, Steve. I apologize. We're up against the end of the hour here, but it was mostly people that had a left-leaning persuasion that got the shot. Is that what they wanted, to eliminate the left? I'm not sure that's true. Free speech, free for all Friday.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now on Real America's Voice.
All right, jumping right back into it on a Free Speech Free for All Friday. You know, the big three, I don't care about it today. I'm going rogue because we got so much to talk about today. Ivy is right there, smiling and ready. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I just tossed the big three right out of here. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. How can I not be fantastic after this incredible interview that we had with the president yesterday?
Boy, if people only knew we had a tech issue leading up to the interview. I just about had cardiac arrest. I did not, thankfully.
It was a very stressful 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was wild. But then he came in and gave us 28 minutes. I mean, look, I've interviewed him a number of times. This is at least twice as long as any interview I've ever done. We cover a wide range of topics. I mean, we go through everything, and it's pretty remarkable.
It's a great conversation.
Yeah. So we're going to play part of that coming up here. What time, Anthony? Bottom of the hour, 7:33. Yeah. Okay. So we'll play about 8 or 9 minutes of the interview there. But if you want to see the entire interview, 28 minutes, we can't fit it into this program. But the powers that be at Real America's Voice said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to run it commercial free during America's Voice Live at 3 o'clock today. So you don't want to miss that. They're just getting rid of the breaks because it's a conversation. You don't want to break it up with commercials and so forth. And at this hour, we don't have that luxury because of the radio stations and everything else we do. But people asked me this morning, callers did it, was he in a good mood? He's in a great mood.
Oh, yeah.
He's up early. He's working. I mean, what did you think?
I thought he was in a great mood. I think that he has a lot of enthusiasm for the future of our country. I think even enthusiasm towards the conflict in Iran. I think he does see an end point, but it really will depend on them. I think he's really disappointed in our senators not being able to pass the SAVE Act, especially after all of the evidence that was released and the issues that happened in our election. I think he's stunned, and as are we, that the senators cannot get this thing passed. It is so important for our election.
And I think maybe the most important part of the conversation, I talked to him about that, and I give him an idea about how to clean up the elections, and he goes, that's a really good idea. I'm going to keep that. But in order to find out what that is, you have to watch today at 3 o'clock. I do want to say this, Ivy, because he made a big announcement last night on Truth Social. He also posted you and I and Laura on Truth Social last night with our One Nation song. So the president,
we woke up this morning. You mentioned the song in your new book that you're working on, and he said, send that stuff to me. So we did, and incredibly, wow, he posted it on his Truth Social page. So if you haven't seen it, the music video or listened to the song, One Nation is available on all of your streaming platforms and also available on YouTube. But it is an incredible song, and what I'm hopeful for, maybe he'll play as rallies in the future. Wouldn't that be cool?
Wouldn't that be nice? All right, so and I want to get to this and then get back to the phone calls. He wrote this on Truth Social. Today, the Board of Peace reached a historic agreement for the complete disarmament of Hamas and all other armed groups in Gaza, a monumental step toward lasting peace and security. This agreement, a critical step toward Gaza finally being governed by a new Palestinian government that will work closely with the Board of Peace to help the Palestinian people. And it goes on, but the fact of the matter is they've got a deal in Gaza. Another remarkable thing that I'm sure the mainstream media will completely ignore because that's
I'm sure. Well, incredible victory, and praise the Lord for that. So I think we have some callers. Steve, let's get back to those callers.
All right. Well, Ginger's been waiting for us in Louisiana. Ginger, good morning. How are you?
Hi. Good morning, guys. Dr. Fauci, I think, should get. I'm not looking forward to him getting 6 months to a year for contempt of court. There are people who call COVID, what happened with COVID, a plandemic, and I tend to agree with those people. You know what was particularly cruel is, besides the fact that they would not let people go visit their loved ones in nursing homes, even if they were dying, passing away, but they stopped people who were in critical need of organ transplants they would tell them, "Oh, you need a heart? Okay, you got to take the vax first," which was
Right.
ridiculous. You have people who are dying already, and you're going to force them to take a jab. But and he knew that remdesivir and respirators was a death sentence, and that was protocol.
Absolutely
and they didn't
true.
make any of the immigrants take shots, just us. So that's kind of strange.
Greatly appreciate
thank you
the
guys.
call.
Y'all are
You're
great.
exactly right. Thank you
All
very
right.
much. The other thing that happened, Ivy, and she's on the right track here. Organ transplants didn't happen. Cancer treatments didn't happen if you refuse the jab. And people put off cancer screenings and so forth. Here's another part nobody talks about. People died of cancer that didn't need to because they didn't get checked, because they didn't get tested, because they didn't go to the hospital, because there was this fear out there. Well, I can't go to the hospital. There could be people there with COVID. Early on in the early days of COVID, people wouldn't go to the emergency room and so forth. And the number of people that died,
So sad, isn't it?
we will never know the number of how many people died because of that reckless
Well, not only
behavior.
that, not only that, Steve, but also think about people who were at their end of life, whether it be your parents or grandparents or whomever, that they had to be alone during that time,
terrible.
and because no one
Dying
was
alone.
allowed in. It's just absolutely
terrible.
horrible that we had to go through that.
We'll
That
never
they
do
had
that
to go
again,
through
will
that.
we? No, we'll never do that again. All right, let's go to Steve in Florida. Steve, good morning.
Morning, Steve. How are you today?
We're doing great. How
Happy
are
that
you?
you're going to talk to have the president's interview on TV later.
Go ahead.
We will at 7. We
Yeah,
will
go
at
ahead.
7:30.
Yep. I don't think he's hearing us
I
right.
can't hear you.
Well, I apologize for that, Steve. Stay on the line. We'll try to get back to you. Let's go to Russ in White Plains, New York. Russ, good morning.
Hi, Steve. That's 3 p.m. Eastern time on RAV, right?
That's correct. During America's Voice Live, I do 2 shows a day
And
on the network. Go ahead, Ivy.
And we'll have a preview here up next. One more segment away, 7:33. We'll have a nice preview compilation of the interview, so stick around for that as well.
Yeah, that's
I
coming
will.
up in
I'll be
15
looking
minutes.
forward to it. And you have top-notch personnel, Steve. Ivy, the guest Jennifer, even your call screener is a top-notch person. He really does his job real well. But your guest Jennifer was talking about the Constitution. If it was perfect, it wouldn't be amended 25 times. But it was interesting. Parties aren't mentioned. Neither is immigration. But her idea, could it be that parties should only get together for elections and then dissolve so that they're not fundraising vehicles? But what I really want to ask you is, Mamdani knows how to use his platform. Everybody knows now that Netanyahu is an indicted war criminal. If people in an electorate want social democracy, shouldn't they be able to vote for whomever they want? And the other thing is, Fauci, one last thing, Fauci could be called before a state grand jury in Florida, and if he refuses to testify, even though he has immunity, he could be locked up for 18 months, the duration of the grand jury. Thanks a
And
lot.
that's
You
why
got a
he
great
took the
show.
fifth.
Listen at 7:30.
Thank you, Steve. That's why he took the fifth, Ivy, because he's still
Yeah.
exposed to state charges. Oh, and by the way, Netanyahu is not an indicted war criminal. Point of fact, he's been indicted by the International Criminal Court, that is a bogus body not recognized by the United States and many other countries. It's garbage. We do not surrender our sovereignty to any foreign body, period. Ivy, love you.
That's right. I love you
All
too,
right.
Steve.
All right, greatly appreciate it. We're going to take a break. More calls after this, plus more. As the great Rush Limbaugh used to say, I sit here with talent on loan from God. Always loved that line. I know what he means. I'll just say that. We're going to talk a little bit about education in America here, because one of the big problems is what they teach kids in school, which is they teach you about transgenderism and socialism's great and capitalism is evil and America was built on slavery and a lot of other garbage that poisons young minds. If you're taught that from the time you're in elementary school, you tend to believe things you're taught when you're young. And you might not have time to sort it out until you're older. By then, there's been a lot of damage done. My next guest, Melanie Curtis, is the board member of the United States Parents Involved in Education, US PI. Melanie also serves as president of the US PI Michigan chapter. She joins me now. Nice to see you.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having us.
And I want to focus on this. The teachers' unions in this country have far too much power. And when you hear these people talk, first of all, they're radical lunatics, a good portion of them. They just are. And they don't talk about students. They talk about left-wing activism. They talk about left-wing radical ideas. And they talk about union membership and the power of the union. They never talk about the students. And they hate homeschooling because it takes power out of their hands. And there was a big move to homeschooling during COVID. There still is. But they're going to war on it. The left is, aren't they?
Oh, they are, absolutely. We saw just recently in Connecticut, a new bill passed. Connecticut was one of the freest to homeschool states in the country. They're implementing regulations that are really going to restrict homeschoolers' freedom. And we're worried that this is going to be a trend across the United States where, legislators are tempted, especially from the left, but even from the right, that regulating to make sure kids are learning what they're supposed to learn. But the facts are on our side. Homeschooling has excellent outcomes in terms of students reading, writing, and doing math. And I think that alone.
To be clear, Melanie, if I may, schools of choice also under attack. Charter schools. Also, anything that takes the power away from the government to tell you what you should know. I don't need the government to teach my kids things that simply are not true. That's what I'm here to say. I have a kid going into high school in a public school. God help us. But he's been pretty well conditioned about facts and questioning facts. And he's like I was when I was in school. I would just raise my hand and tell the teacher they were wrong. I never had fear of that, ever. And I did that especially in history classes and government classes when a teacher would insert their own opinion and present it as fact. I'd call them out in front of the whole class. I'm sure my son will do the same. But we need people to stand up and say no. And there's more of that now. But there still is problems. There still are problems with blue states where parents are still kept in the dark about Johnny wanting to become Susie or whatever, about teaching things that simply aren't true. Oh, America was founded on racism in 1619. No, America wasn't even a country for another 160 years. It's all garbage, and we need to stand up and be heard, don't we?
We absolutely do. And if parents do send their kids to the schools, teaching them to be able to stand up is an excellent skill. You see it for your life. Serves you well. But most kids aren't that strong. Most kids want to get along. They want their friends to like them, and the peer pressure is intense. And so people start accommodating the things that they know aren't true. And they regurgitate them. And like you said in your opening, they start to believe things that just are not true.
Yeah. How do people get involved with your organization, US PI?
So we have a website, uspie.org. We join the movement. There's lots of information there about how to get involved, and information on how to take back your schools, information on how to take your kids out of the government schools, which is what we really recommend.
That's what we recommend. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much.
Greatly appreciated as always. Look, the teachers' unions have far too much power. That's a fact. Let's grab a couple more phone calls here. I think Tom in Kentucky is up on the rotation. Tom, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. How are you and Ivy this morning?
We're doing well. We're jacked up on 1775 coffee. It's a perfect Friday. What's on your mind?
Got you, brother. I got you. Well, I've been on so long. I was kind of a pedo patriot at first, but I've got the answer to all of it.
All right, what is it?
All they need to do is start enforcing the law. There's too many of these people like Fauci and Schiff and even McConnell. What's his bag anyway? I mean, they need somebody to start. These people that's breaking the law like Fauci and the rest of them. They need to do. They need to go back like they did 40 years ago and hang them or.
Well, that might be extreme, but I'll tell you this. I thank you for the phone call because I would say this, Tom. I would like a deep dive, a forensic audit of Mitch McConnell's money. I would. I wonder how much of that money comes from China. Elaine Chao, his wife, went to China after he was hospitalized 6 weeks ago. Mitch McConnell's not coming back. But he's got to get out of the way before I think it's maybe the 13th of August so they can have a special election in Kentucky to fill the seat. See, there's a game being played on the American people by Mitch McConnell. It's been going on for years. We need to get it in check because what's happening right now is not what the American people want. The American people want security in elections. The American people want voter ID. Democrats want it. Republicans want it. Independents want it. We don't want states counting for 5 days, 10 days, in California's case, 35 days, counting ballots. I mean, it's ripe for fraud. Everybody knows it. Let me tell you about something people keep asking me about, the QE infrared facial mask that Ivy uses. It's red and infrared light. You can use at home to support healthier-looking skin, boost collagen, soften the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. Instead of expensive spa treatments, you just wear the mask for a few minutes a day. It's comfortable, easy to use, and fits right into your routine. It's what Ivy uses. So skip the spa visits. Go to ExodusStrong.com. Use the promo code Gruber. You'll get the mask for under $200. ExodusStrong.com. Promo code is Gruber. Look, it's great for Halloween. Look at that thing. You'll scare the daylights out of the neighbor kids. That'll be fun. More calls after this. This part of the program brought to you by Appearance, a skincare brand turning heads in Elle, Cosmopolitan, LA Weekly, and elsewhere. To date, they've helped over 60,000 women to fall in love with their skin complexion again. Appearance delivers clean, organic skincare without harsh preservatives. Its Cellular Restore Serum features a gentle alternative to retinol. In a small focus group, 92.9% of women saw fewer wrinkles after just 3 weeks of applying the Cellular Restore Serum. The Cellular Hydration Serum contains tremolo mushrooms, which hydrates the deepest layers of skin better than a hyaluronic acid. Then there's Lift and Glow, organic eye cream. If you want to lighten the appearance of dark circles under your eyes and restore radiant complexion, then you're going to love Lift and Glow. Finally, they have Even Glow Serum. It features Kokoda plum, which delivers 100 times more concentrated vitamin C than oranges. Even Glow works wonders for reducing dark spot appearance. And right now, for a limited time, you can save 35% on all Appearance products. Simply go to Appearance.com, enter the coupon code DAYBREAK at checkout. Appearance.com, coupon code DAYBREAK, save 35%. All right, let's get one call in. Mike from upstate New York, what do you got?
Hey, good evening. How you doing, Steve?
Good. Go.
Hey, look, I got a question for you here. I don't think that any of these people are ever going to be indicted federally, right? But here in upstate New York, in the county of St. Lawrence, we have a local district attorney, we have a local judge. Most of these laws that have been broken by people like Fauci and so forth have local variants in the state of New York. Why can't we do what the Democrats did in Atlanta with Rudy Giuliani, in New York with Donald Trump? Why can't we just bypass Washington entirely?
The answer is
and
you
get
can.
These people?
You can, Mike. You got to have a district attorney with the courage to get it done. Your call is spot on, and I appreciate you making it today. Local jurisdictions. Don't let Fauci get away with it. Don't let all these other people get away with it. Hold these people accountable. And that's what I say. All right, coming up after the break, a preview of my 28-minute conversation with the President of the United States. 28 minutes, for those of you that maybe don't know, is pretty unheard of for a telephone interview with the President. Longer than any interview I've ever done with him. It's remarkable. And we're going to have a preview for you coming out of the break here on Daybreak. I want you to watch it. And then at 3 o'clock this afternoon, the entire interview will air uninterrupted, commercial-free on America's Voice Live on Real America's Voice. You don't want to miss it. Mr. President, good morning.
Let's get going.
What many people believe should be an easy thing to get done, securing our elections, but the Save America Act still stuck. Senate apparently wants to go on vacation for a month. Obviously, this is a big issue for you. What are your thoughts?
It's hardly believable, actually. I would think that of all the things in the world today, that maybe the easiest thing to get approved would be voter ID with a photo and would be proof of citizenship if you just took those two elements. I would say that may be the easiest thing I can think of. If you ask me for what would be the easiest thing to get approved, I am amazed that the Senate can't get that approved.
Let me ask you about the DSA and the socialists upsetting the political left with radical candidates that they seem to hate America, sir. How dangerous, though, are these people? They get made fun of by people on the right, but it seems dangerous.
When they're, facing these lunatics, they have to be very strong. You have to let them know that it'll be a very short-lived high.
Anthony Fauci took the fifth 111 times. Don't you find that a bit shocking?
Well, his lawyers told him to do that. He probably did the right thing from a legal perspective.
And I'm actually completing a book right now about Providence and American presidents. I'm writing a chapter about you as we speak.
Wow. Give me the information. I'll give it a truth.
Well,
make it a number one business. Give me that information.
Well, I certainly will. Okay. But you have redefined, and I think this is incredibly important to millions of Americans. You have redefined the defense of faith in this nation at a critical time. You created the Faith Office, for example. And when you look at faith in America and the way you were raised and where we are today, how important is this effort and everything else that you do?
I think religion is a very important thing for our country, especially. We lost so much, and we're going back to it. You see the numbers of people that are joining the church and everything. They're setting records, just like the military is setting records. So we had the lowest deployment. We had the worst numbers of enrollment in military in the history of our country 2 years ago. And now we have the best numbers in the history of our country. We have waiting lists to get into the branches of the military. And 2 years ago, you couldn't get anybody to do it. That includes, by the way, police and firemen. Now, you can't get into any branch. It's very hard to get into the military. That's a great statement.
Well, we should raise the bar. We should make it hard to get in the military. We want the brightest and the best, don't we?
We do, and that's what's happening, and we're taking the people that we want.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask where we stand today with Iran. We've been hitting them very hard. You have over the past 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. They make a deal, they renege. They make a deal, they don't honor it.
Right.
For 47 years.
That's exactly where we are. We hit them very hard. They ask us not to do it, and they want to negotiate. We start negotiating. In the midst of a negotiation, they fire 5 rockets at us. We knock all of them down, and then we beat the hell out of them, like last night. We beat the hell out of them, and we're not stopping either. So, no, we have a great military, amazing military. I built it.
Last question on Iran real quickly, and I think it's the toughest question. I don't know if there is an answer because of the disingenuous nature of their negotiations, if you even want to call it that. But do you have any idea? Is it a month, a year? How long does it take to resolve what's happening?
So, always difficult to do. Don't forget, we did Venezuela. Nobody talks about that. We did that in less than a day.
Yeah.
It was done in exactly 48 minutes, to be exact, but less than a day. We lost nobody. With Iran, we're at 16, depending on definitions, we're at 16, 18 people, which is far too many, because one is too many. But when you look at Vietnam, you look at Afghanistan, you look at Korea, you look at all of these different wars. Vietnam went on for 21 years. We're in our 5th month.
But you talk about things like running in 2028. But seriously, bringing in $19.2 trillion means that the next guy in office gets a lot of credit for the work you did. I thought it was a pretty good line.
Well, I use it. I say, I'd love to be the next guy in office because you're going to be reporting, but you'll be on our side. You'll be one of the few that will do it because you've been so great. But the next guy in office is going to look like a super genius because all these plants will be open. All these jobs will be in here. It'll be a rebuilt country, and he's going to get credit. You know, it's interesting. McKinley made a tremendous, through tariffs, made our country probably the richest, relatively the richest it ever was. And then Roosevelt came along, took the money and spent it. And Roosevelt should be given credit, but McKinley was never given the credit he deserves. They even took his name off Mount McKinley, which I put back.
I think when Teddy Roosevelt did that, it was the beginning of an age of America where they proved we could do great things. I share a birthday with Teddy Roosevelt, so I have a bit of an affinity for him. But he would get in there and he would get things done, and he believed in this country. We need more of that today, sir, don't we?
We need it, but we have it now. We have it now in spades. If you look, we're leading in AI. We're leading in everything, in every category. There's never been, I say the golden age. This is the golden age of America, actually. Now, we'll get you out of that war in a little while, but it'll be very positive, very important stop. I made that little journey right in the middle of the best numbers. We've had 78 all-time high stock markets. But I said, we can't let that country have a nuclear weapon. Because you want to see everything end fast, give crazy people nuclear weapons. It'll end real fast.
Well, it doesn't.
Let it happen.
It feels like we're on the rise from where I sit. Your base is secure. The Democrats are putting up candidates that nobody understands, even Democrats. So I'll give you the last word here. Anything you want to say about the midterms, where we go from here, making sure that non-citizens will know that if they vote, they're going to be shown the door. Anything, sir.
Yeah, I love that idea, by the way. That's a very unique idea. A lot of people don't talk about that. And I'm going to look into that. Actually, that's a good way of getting them not to vote because they don't want to be thrown out. We don't want men and women's sports. It looks like we won that one pretty good. We got 90% of it, at least with the Supreme Court. But think of it, no transgender for, mutilization of our children. We don't want to have open borders. We want to have a strong military so we're protected. Good education. We want things that are all common sense. And if you go by that, that's really the Republican Party. And I hope we do well in the midterm.
Well, you've defied political gravity since 2015 from where I sit and from where a lot of people sit. They counted you out too many times. Remember, somehow Donald Trump always comes back and rings the bell. Sir, thank you for being here.
Thank you, and I'll speak again, and you just take care of yourself. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. There you have it, the preview of the interview. And again, I've done this for a long time. For Donald Trump to be so generous with his time to give us almost a half an hour to record that interview yesterday. It will play in its entirety today, commercial free at 3 o'clock on America's Voice Live. You get a pretty good taste for a lot of the conversation and the different topics. We covered a lot of ground in a half an hour. And as you heard, telling non-citizens if they vote, they will be deported. I shared that idea with him. He loved it. He's got the bully pulpit. He's got Truth Social. He can put it out there. If you're illegal, if you're a non-citizen green card, but you are not legal to vote, you get thrown out of the country. Again, the complete interview, commercial free today, 3 o'clock on Real America's Voice. Catch it all. It's a good one. And I appreciate the president giving us all that time. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back to it. I'm not sure if there's something in the coffee today. The 1775 coffee is the best there is, 1775coffee.com. Promo code Gruber, by the way. Get the best coffee there is, but there must be something in the coffee. Well, we get the long interview with Donald Trump. Last night, he does a post on Truth Social about our One Nation song. Thank you, Mr. President. And this morning, I get a note that we're going to be featured, One Nation is, on a segment of NBC. I don't know what's in the coffee. It's pretty good, though. QR code's right there on your screen. Bold, I'll tell you. Bold. All right, it's free speech, free for all Friday. Glad to have you on board. Let's go back to Steve in Florida. Steve, good morning. What's on your mind?
Well, I can
Steve,
barely hear you, but let me just make a couple of points, Steve.
All right.
We have several existential threats: China, Islam, Marxist, seditious, demon crap politicians and judges, and the quisling colluders in the Republican Party. And there's a quote from Machiavelli: "There is no avoiding war. It can only be postponed to the advantage of your enemy." And these 3 or 4 enemies are existential threats to us. We got to deal with them now, and there should be no quarter. If he has to declare martial law to get these people off the street, out of their safe spaces where they can run free to sell us out to the communists and the Marxists.
Well, Steve, you're right.
And the Islamic terrorists.
It's all true, and I appreciate the call. China, Islam, Marxist, quislings. I like the use of that word. You get 50 cents for that word today because I greatly appreciate it. All right. America's under attack from all sorts of bad elements. We are. And that's why we have to stiffen our backbone and stiffen our resolve and stand up and say, we believe in America. We believe in the promise of this country. We believe in the future, and we will stand up. We will be bold, and we will be heard. Great call, Steve. I'm glad we got that one through. Let's go to Rich. He's on Long Island. Inside, is he behind enemy lines?
Steve,
Rich, are you behind enemy
Steve
lines?
And Heidi, good morning. Thank you for taking the call. Congratulations on your song, and thank you for everything you do to give America a voice and bring us honest news. I want to make a couple of points. The last hour you had a guest on that said we needed a movement or a third party for America. I think she misses the point that we don't need a movement. We have it. It's MAGA and MAHA, and that it's in the process of supplanting the Republican Party as the true voice of America. And I think Trump on the campaign this term needs to focus on that and say this is a process, that we're going to continue this process, and we have to stick by MAGA as opposed to the communists who want to destroy the country. And in so doing, he can highlight everything he's done. One of the most important things is draining the swamp, which includes getting rid of the rhinos. And he cannot be shy about blaming Congress and the senators for obstructing and failing to implement his policies, and show how we've gotten rid of Cornyn and Cassidy and Tillis and others. And he needs to promise that he's going to continue to do that in the next 2 years.
I agree with you, Rich. Well done. Well thought out, well formulated. There is a movement. I don't call it MAGA myself. I know people do. I just call it America First. This country, whatever your priorities are, America's first in line. Not second, not third, not sitting out, not answering to bogus ICC courts or any other such nonsense. This is America. And we will stand up and we will be bold, but you do have to vote. The one way to make sure your vote doesn't count is to never cast it. You have to vote against the communists. Even if you're not voting for the Republican, you're voting against the communists. Do your part. Let's go to Charlene in the great state of New Jersey, where non-citizens like to vote, I understand. Charlene, good morning.
Hi, Steve. Good morning. Thank you so much for taking my call. One of the things I wanted to bring up was I'm involved in medical freedom, and you were talking earlier about the vaccine, and my parents were unvaccinated, and they did get COVID. When they went in, they both had to go to the hospital the same day, the same time, and I'm sorry, are you there, Steve?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. I'm listening. Go ahead. They went to the hospital at the same time.
Right. Unfortunately, I was denied access to the hospital, and my stepdad, eventually died alone in the hospital, and my mom was in there for 30 days, and she was isolated for almost that whole time, and there was no informed consent. They gave a lot of sedation medication to my stepdad, and there was a lot of neglect, and they took communication devices away from my mother, and I couldn't get through. It was really a nightmare. And also because of they were unvaccinated, I did get a lot of lecture, and I knew, my parents were basically an enemy.
Yeah, we can never have that happen again. It can never happen again, Charlene.
No.
This is you. Thank you for the call, because you've outlined the nightmare that millions went through. Millions of people. I had friends who had to sit and watch through glass, standing outside of a building, not allowed inside, to look through the glass while their loved ones died. Anthony Fauci knew this. You know what he was doing? Posing for InStyle magazine, posing for Time magazine, appearing on CNN, NBC, CBS. He was on Good Morning America 31 times. Ivy had these numbers yesterday. It was something like just shy of 1,800 television appearances. 1,800. He was a media whore. Anthony Fauci was a media whore. That's what he did while people were dying. It's irrefutable. Is he going to be held accountable? I'd like to think so, but I doubt it. I'll be back. All right, let's just jump right along with the phone calls. I've got a lot of them. We'll take them right into the next hour as well. Daryl is in South Carolina. Daryl, good morning.
Hey, Steve, how you doing this morning?
Doing well, my friend. What's on your mind?
Well, I just want to bring up a network, the Newsmax over there. They had some pompous ass clowns walk off the set when Mike Lindell was talking, and they actually had the nerve to hire Deborah Birx as their medical director. Why isn't
Can't
she
wait till she's in
performed?
front of. I can't wait until she's in front of the Senate committee answering questions. I look forward to that. I don't care about other networks. I'm going to give you a pass on that for today. I don't care what they do over there, but she needs to be in front of the Senate. She needs to be in front of the Senate answering questions. In fact, bring them all in. Bring the other people that were in those email chains with Anthony Fauci. Ask them what he did. Ask them what happened. Wouldn't you agree? Right. Let's go to Mike in Ohio. Mike, how are you today?
I'm good, Steve. I love your show. I wanted to bring something up about the Fauci hearing that I think a lot of people, if not most, didn't pick up on, despite the fact that he pleaded the fifth 111 times. I think he shot himself in the foot when he was slam dunking Rand Paul about the fact that he published his unredacted diary. So he admitted guilt right from the beginning. He didn't have to say anything because from that point on, all the questions that he asked him were moot points because he already admitted guilt in his opening statement.
It's a good point you make. I appreciate you catching that. You're right. 1,100 pages of his own thoughts, which, by the way, who would release my diaries? They were on government computers, doctor. You're supposed to be the smartest man in the world. You should know using a government computer to keep your private thoughts isn't private at all. In fact, I would say if he tried to delete those documents, he's destroying government records. That, too, would be a crime. But the auto pen saved him from that, too, it seems. More of your phone calls, and don't forget the big interview with Donald Trump and me. Coming up today, 3 o'clock on Real America's Voice Live. It will be aired in its entirety commercial-free, 28 minutes. You want to hear it. I'll have a break and be right back.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now.
Well, it sure does. Welcome back to the program on a Free Speech Free for All Friday. It's been a busy few hours, to say the least, a very busy few hours. Yesterday, I got the opportunity to interview the president, and we got started late because of a technical issue I'll tell you about sometime, but not today. And we almost missed the interview. But then he got on, and we talked for just shy of a half an hour. Absolutely remarkable, because in this business, you don't get that kind of time with the president, usually, unless it's a formal sit-down interview, which we'll get with him hopefully sometime soon. But remarkable thing that we covered. We covered the Save America Act, telling any non-citizen voter that's illegal, you'll be deported. We talked about the DSA and the socialists, the return of manufacturing, rare earth elements, energy production, Anthony Fauci, national security, Greenland. A couple of big things about Greenland you're going to want to hear in this conversation. We talked about faith in America and, of course, Iran, too. That entire interview will air commercial-free, uninterrupted at 3 o'clock this afternoon on Real America's Voice Live, a program that I have hosted since, 2021 maybe. Been there for a while. It's my afternoon program, and it'll be there, the entire interview, uninterrupted, commercial-free. You'll want to see it and react to it. Now, let's get back to the phones. It is Free Speech Free for All Friday, powered by Patriot Mobile's Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. Larry is in Pennsylvania today. Larry, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, Larry. How are you?
All right. How are you doing, Steve? Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to make reference to the preamble to the Constitution. I don't think you can find a more succinct job description than that as to what our Congress members are supposed to be doing. It says there, like we the people, not the parties. Okay, there ain't no Democrat, no Republican. That's how it started. But then United States, and that's the thing. We should be concentrated solely on the United States. Nothing to do with Europe, Middle East. I'm about tired of this. We seem to be concerned about everybody else in the world but us. And like it says in the preamble, to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. What don't they understand about that down there? Maybe it's time the people go down there to Congress while they're on vacation. A contingent from every state show up down there. You know what? When they come back to work, tell them what they're going to do, what we want them to do, not what they're going to do, and set the agenda straight with these people. It's just ridiculous anymore.
It is. Well done. Great phone call. For our posterity, that being our children, grandchildren, and generations to come. Congress works for us, but they don't have that attitude, do they? Most don't. Some do. There's a few, but not many. Let's go to Earl, also in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania well represented today. Earl, good morning.
Hello, Steve. How are you?
I am lovely. What's on your mind?
Thing I got is, you remember Chuck Schumer saying, no kings, no kings?
Oh, yeah. Said it a lot.
Well, now he's acting like one. And his constituents are his subjects, and they do what he says.
But they don't. That's the problem that Chuck Schumer has. His constituents, his kingdom is on fire because the socialists have come into the tent, kicked over the table, and lit the tent on fire. That's what's happened. These socialists are destroying the party of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. They're scared to death. They've acquiesced. They've surrendered. And now they're paying the price. I think it's 35 socialists have won Democrat primaries. They're not Democrats, but they run as Democrats. And it's going to create great chaos for that party. I don't know if the Democrat Party survives this. Maybe they get lucky and they win the midterms. I don't think so, but maybe. But after that, you're going to have more states, more red states that redistrict before the presidential election. And then after the census in 2030, another 15 or 18 seats will shift red to places like Texas and Florida and Georgia. And there won't be a Democrat party. Thanks for the call, Earl. Greatly appreciate it. Let's see. We got Bob in Florida next. Bob, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Steve. Your third party gal jogged my old brain to a Google search that I did some years back about the breakdown of religious affiliation of the population of the U.S. in 1776. The vast majority was Protestant. 2% were categorized by Jews and Catholics, which tells me that they had very little input into our founding documents, if any. But if you fast forward to today and look at the Supreme Court, the composition of the Supreme Court has Miss Jackson as the lone Protestant. Everybody else is a Jew or a Catholic.
That's correct.
And Miss Jackson doesn't really qualify according to her positions. They aren't biblical. They aren't scriptural. She can't be a practicing Protestant.
They aren't even rational.
If you want to get back, if you want to get back to having a population on the Supreme Court that serves the interests of the American people, we need to have 2% Jews and Catholic on the board, and the rest of them need to be Protestant.
Well, that's not going to happen, Bob, but I appreciate your sentiment. There should at least be representation of Protestants in the numbers that they exist in this country. I heard an interesting question on Capitol Hill here recently from Brandon Gill. He's the congressman from Texas who has been doing a great job holding people accountable. And he said to, I think she was the president of the American Bar Association, should there be another black jurist on the Supreme Court, would you support that? Because it would disproportionately represent black Americans on the Supreme Court. And the point that he was making is it shouldn't be about whether you're black or white, Catholic or Protestant, Jew or whatever. Are you qualified to sit there and have a discussion about the laws of America and apply the law appropriately? That's the real question. Benny is in Michigan. Benny, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
I am well, sir. Yourself?
Well enough. I wanted to make a comment in reference to the president's wanting to send everyone back home that votes illegally, which I think I'm all for. Illegal immigrants should not vote in this country. Here's the problem, Steve. Individuals that are here legally are being voted for. How do you address that?
Say that again.
Immigrants that are here with green cards legally, even in the state of Michigan,
right,
don't vote. But if you check the rolls, they voted.
Yeah, they should be deported immediately. That's the point.
No, sir. They did not physically vote. Someone voted for them.
Ah, I got you. Right. So the Muskegon trip.
I have a mentally impaired son. Voted 5 times.
Do me a favor.
Hold a green card.
Do me a favor. Send me an email on that. Go to stevegruber.com. Send me an email on that. I'd like information on your son that voted when he didn't actually vote. All right.
Oh, by the way, Steve,
I got to hit a commercial here. I'm sorry. Just send me the email. stevegruber.com. I have to jump. I apologize. I'm interested in your story, though. Very interested. It's Free Speech, Free for All Friday. I'll take a break and be right back. In 2022, Anthony Fauci on television more than once said he would answer any question at any time in front of any committee. I've testified hundreds of times. I'll answer any question. If they want to use me as a punching bag, I don't care, said an arrogant Anthony Fauci. And then this week, we saw the real Anthony Fauci take the Fifth Amendment 111 times, despite the fact that he has received a presidential pardon or an auto pen pardon or whatever. It's legally binding. And yet, he stood on privilege. Steve Doolan, professor and attorney, the best-looking attorney, the most talented professor ever. It's Doolan. Good morning, Doolan.
Thanks, Gruber. I trust you are showing a picture of 1980s era Corbin Burnson and telling everybody it's me.
Actually, it's you with a cape and tights. It's very flattering. Very flattering. All right, Doolan, let's talk about this. And he was told this by Senator Rand Paul, Senator Josh Hawley, former Attorney General for the state of Missouri. You don't have privilege to stand on. You have a pardon. You are compelled to answer. The problem is this, Doolan. I don't know if it's true. You and I talked about this. Can he hide behind the pardon and still plead the Fifth, or can he not?
Well, it'll be interesting. So let's assume that there's for a contempt or a motion for contempt, and it has to go through as a referral through the Department of Justice, but he could be held in civil contempt by a court of competent jurisdiction. His lawyers would have to argue at that point that the pardon is questionable. And that's why they advised him to plead the Fifth Amendment and not answer any questions. There's also an interesting little twist because he made a statement. And if you're taking the Fifth, you open the door when you start talking about anything relevant to the case, if you're in court, or in this case, anything relevant to his testimony before Congress. And he referred to all of his past testimony. And so, the lawyer who was sitting next to him probably shouldn't have let him talk at the beginning if he was just going to take the Fifth. He also inappropriately pled the Fifth Amendment on questions like what color is the carpet and what color is your tie. Those could by no stretch be considered incriminating answers if he told everybody what color he thinks the carpet is. So it's kind of a mess. It'll be fascinating to watch it be litigated, which I'm assuming it's going to be. If he were to be held in contempt of Congress without a DOJ referral, you'd have to get a vote from all of Congress, and that's cumbersome, and you never know what's going to happen there because they're always horse trading. But it'll be interesting if they take it to court.
Yeah, here's the thing. So if he gets found in contempt of court, the minimum fine is like $100. The maximum fine I think I read was $5,000 and up to 12 months in jail. So for everything that he did, and let's be clear about this, it's pretty obvious at this point to me, you're an attorney, you tell me, it's pretty obvious he was untruthful in front of Congress previously, based on his own diaries. His own entries pretty much show that he wasn't telling the truth in front of Congress previously. So he lied to Congress. That's a crime, but he's protected by the pardon. And even now, if they're able to say, well, you didn't testify as you were compelled to do, the maximum sentence is doodly squat. He's not going to spend an hour in jail, I don't believe, Doolan. What do you think?
Well, he's getting to an age where natural causes will take him sooner versus later. But this is about getting to the truth. I honestly believe that Rand Paul has a sincere desire to get the truth out. It's not just a witch hunt. Let's get Tony Fauci. I think that the truth matters, as I know you do. And so anything that can be done to get the truth out and try to make sure that these horrifying civil rights abuses aren't perpetrated again in the future is worth it, in my opinion, no matter what happens to him. What happens to him is irrelevant, in my opinion.
Fair point. We want the truth. We want to know what we were lied to about. But let me ask you this. You made a point, and I heard some other people make the same point you just made. I want to explore it a little bit. And that is, by giving an opening statement, he's forfeiting his Fifth Amendment protections by virtue of doing that. Is that true or false?
Well, arguably, he is. This isn't quite as cut and dried as you would hope at this point in history. But arguably, he's opened the door, as we say in my business, to anything that he discussed during his opening statement, at least. And he made some blatant statements about all of his past testimony, the many times he's testified, et cetera. So, the argument is that he's therefore opened the door to discuss all those things. He's essentially waived immunity with regard to anything he talked about.
Yeah. He opened his mouth, and therefore you can't continue to hide. Doolin, by the way, you're going to love the picture that Anthony found to put up with your phone call. You are. No.
I can't wait.
Man, you look good as a TV star, I'll tell you that. Yeah.
Well,
Steve
not half
Corbin
as good
Doolin.
as you.
Yeah, anyhow, Doolin. Always appreciate it, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. My thoughts are with you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, there you have it. Yes, sir. There you have it. Let's see if we can get in Eugene from New York before we run out of time here. Eugene, good morning. Welcome to the program.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. What's on your
This
mind?
deal about Anthony Fauci, isn't he a traitor? If he's a traitor, he can be executed. He killed over 1 million people. And Cuomo killed 40,000 in New York State. Andrew Cuomo. He's a traitor, too. Why are we still got all these traitors in front of us who should have been executed already? I don't understand this. If I did
we
did
haven't
on
done a federal
January 6th
execution
to
in
Ashley
decades.
Babbitt,
Anyhow,
they would have put me
thanks,
in front
Eugene.
of a court.
Really appreciate it. Anyhow, whatever. I appreciate people's passion, but come on, let's be sensible. That's not happening. We're not dragging people out for public executions. This is not Tehran. This is the United States of America. You still get due process. And until there's due process, nothing else happens. So let's not be silly. Let's be factual. And let's, I think Doolin's right. Let's just get to the facts of the matter and find out what's true. More calls after this. All right, this part of the program brought to you by the Wellness Company. They have the great medical kits that you can put on your shelf with things like ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, antibiotics, antiparasitics, antivirals, all there. You don't have to be worried if something happens, you get cut off and you can't get to the outside world because of a snowstorm or a natural disaster, your power's out, whatever it may be. The Wellness Company, twc.health/Gruber. You'll save money right now. Put one of these kits on your shelf. I've got them. You should have them. And you'll be better protected if you do. Curtis is in Indiana today on the Free Speech, Free for All Friday edition of the program.
Yes,
Curtis, good morning.
I had concerns about our good friend Schumer up there in the Senate.
Schumer?
He seems to be wanting to get on this bandwagon of corruption bill. Why doesn't he join the Republicans in the waste, fraud, and abuse and just add that in with it? Instead of having to make his own bill, making him like he is, quote, a leader, king, or whatever you want to call him, dictator.
Well, the reason's pretty simple.
I mean,
that would give Donald Trump a win. Chuck Schumer can't give Donald Trump a win on anything, ever. That's their mindset. That's the problem, Curtis. They can't let it Trump win.
Unfortunately, I mean, I look at him, well, I would say he is a human being. He is an American. Why can't he just go to Trump directly and say, hey, look, let's work together and get this done, or go to Senator Thune and say, let's work together and get this done, instead of keeping that Trump derangement syndrome.
Well, there's your answer, Curtis. Thank you for the phone call. Look, it wouldn't matter if Donald Trump had the cure for cancer. And he said, in order for the cure to cancer to be shared with 350 million Americans, we have to pass it through Congress. The Democrats would vote against it. A few in the House would support it. John Fetterman would support it in the Senate. And other than that, the Democrats would vote no. And the filibuster would stand in the way of having a cure for cancer. Unfortunately, that's where we are. I mean, I didn't like Barack Obama, but there were things that he did that were right. He killed Osama bin Laden on a very gutsy raid. Right? There are things that Obama did that were the right thing to do. Why can't Democrats admit the same about this president? I mean, that's where we are. I'll take a break and be back. It is Daybreak. You know, something that truly bothers me when you get ballot initiatives, and I'm sure it's true in every state. I voted mostly in Michigan, but I have voted in Ohio and Montana when I lived in those places. But in Michigan, you get these ballot initiatives, and they say they got some flowery language or whatever they say, but I don't trust them. I'll be honest with you. They put in language to make it sound like it's some wonderful thing when really it's not. John Selleck is joining me. He's the spokesperson for Protect Michigan Free Speech. John, good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
Good to have you here. All right, Protect Michigan Free Speech. You guys not happy because the Board of Canvassers approved this, what is it called? Michigan Money Out of Politics, MMOP. It had a 9-signature cushion. Nine. That's not even anywhere near getting out of the margin of error, is it?
No, it's really a mess. And first and foremost, the blame lies with the people who collected the signatures, the Michiganders for Money Out of Politics. They did a terrible job. And in fact, they were excitedly saying no one should challenge their signatures. We did such a good job, quote unquote, on our signatures that were beyond reproach. We're already on the ballot. They turned in 200,000 extra signatures. And Steve, literally almost 100% of their cushion over the limit was invalidated by the state. But the second step that was even more concerning is the state officials who did the initial review of the signatures missed a ton of invalid signatures. So when our group came in and said, hey, by the way, did you look at these? And did you look at these? And did you look at these? They're like, oh yeah, you're right. There's a bunch more that should be invalidated. And out of that 1,000 signature sample, we got down to 9 signatures, which is really concerning. And that's why at least one of the members of the Board of Canvassers voted no, because they said they didn't have faith in the decision and there needed to be a closer review. Now, like if they get the signatures and they get on the ballot, we're fine to debate the policy because they're terrible on that too. But this stage is still going. We have the option to file an appeal with the Michigan Supreme Court, and we're looking at that very closely. And I wouldn't be surprised if we take.
Well, I would hope you would do that. You have to do that because here's what happens: people like Neville Roy Singham or George Soros or their organizations come in, spend millions. In fact, you told me in the break before you came on, they're allegedly trying to get dark money out of politics, but that's not their plan at all. They've already taken in $6 million from God only knows where to push this initiative already. It didn't come from $5 donations from Betsy over in Grand Blanc, did it?
Right. It's pretty easy these days to trot out a few of your volunteers wearing orange t-shirts and saying, look, it's a citizen-driven initiative. And, that part of our Constitution works. It's a sacred right for citizens to initiate legislation. That's what they did here instead of going through the legislature. But you have to follow the rules and you have to do it correctly. And while they have the legality, the legal option to raise money, dark money, they claim the whole reason for their purpose for being is to get rid of dark money. $6 million. We're vastly getting outspent here. $6 million in dark money is being used to, quote, get rid of dark money. Their own volunteers.
So let me ask you this. What do they claim this would do if it were passed by voters in November?
Well, first they say there's a lot of frustration with big companies, big corporations, and that's true. There is a lot. There's some justifiable complaints and concerns by citizens. We get that. They say that you're going to take the big utilities, DTE, Consumers Energy, other big companies that have $250,000 contracts or above with the state, like Blue Cross Blue Shield, and actually 900 other companies. And they go so far here, Steve, buried in the details that no one read when they had a clipboard shoved in their face at Meijer or Kroger or at Pine Knob, was that if you happen to be related to someone who worked at one of these 900 companies, you don't get to make contributions anymore. Somehow you are suspect and you are banned from speaking out in politics. You can't use your Win Red app, can't use your Act Blue app. You're out. Yeah. And they did not tell people that.
John, I think that based on two recent Supreme Court decisions, Citizens United being the most famous or infamous, depending on where you come down, and another one more recently, this has no chance of passing muster. This will be invalidated by the United States Supreme Court, would it not?
It's really the biggest deceit of the whole thing by the committee toward its volunteers, toward everyone else that it's speaking to in the public, right? That in the long run, it's likely that this won't make it. But that's a long road, Steve. We're trying to clear the air now as soon as we can so we don't have to get that far. That will create a big mess going forward. So even if they know they are likely to lose, for now it's a great job for liberal activists who want to make a few bucks running a campaign. The data people are collecting boatloads of data about all the people who signed the forms, people who are willing to vote yes, come out to rallies, sign up on their website. I mean, there's all kinds of things going on here under the surface. But most importantly, even though this is a sacred right and we need to use it sometimes, this has so many behind the scenes mechanizations, like banning regular citizens who just happen to be related to one of their targets from participating in politics. They're literally being able to like cancel a whole universe of people that they want to cancel, but at the same
Right.
time, out-of-state billionaires still can roll in here and spend all they want. They might have more
That's the point.
transparency, but they can still spend.
That's the point. Out of state money, out of country money. John, do me a favor. When you guys do file that appeal to the Michigan Supreme Court, which I fully expect you will do because you have to, let us know because we'll have a follow up conversation. You can't block people from Michigan spending money and then allow truckloads to show up from out of state. Can't have it.
That's right.
John, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for having me, Steve. We'll be back.
Greatly appreciated. They're going to file an appeal. They have to. Let's go back to the phone lines on this Free Speech Free for All Friday. Judy is in the great state of Oregon. Judy, good morning.
Good morning. I don't think it's a great state, but I live here. We're trying to get out and attached to Idaho, and we haven't gotten the votes yet. But what Oregon does, I want to talk about Fauci, but what Oregon does when they want to get their way is we voted, I don't know, maybe 10 times in the last 15 years not to pass. We passed medical marijuana, but Klamath County refused to pass the recreational marijuana. So they just didn't put it on our ballot. They took a 2-block square radius in downtown Klamath Falls for the entire county of Klamath and only let those people vote because they voted for it every time. So we just didn't get to vote. It wasn't on our ballot. It was just on 200 or 300 people. That's what Oregon does. But what I really wanted to talk about was that the one guy that wanted to kill everybody, a few calls ago. I don't believe in that. But I think the Republicans are most people that vote for Trump are getting tired of like that Wisconsin judge that got convicted of walking that illegal out the back door. You got a slap on the wrist. And when Bannon went to jail with this Fauci thing, I don't see why they can't put him in jail. They put Bannon, and Trump had executed his privilege, and they didn't take that into consideration. They just threw him in jail. And the Republicans, every time we get in and get going strong, they back down on everything. They don't follow through.
They become jellyfish.
And with Fauci,
Judy, they become jellyfish.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. Oh,
the thing about Fauci, the thing about Fauci, it's my understanding that when you take a
pardon,
pardon, that the person that takes the pardon is admitting to that he was guilty.
I think so. Anyhow, I got to leave it there. Up against a break. He didn't just get a pardon. He begged for a pardon by all accounts. Ivy's coming up after this. All right, let's jump right back into it with the best person that I've ever met. Ivy's with me this morning, of course. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for that compliment.
Look at that big, beautiful smile. We've had a pretty good couple of days.
We sure have. We feel incredibly blessed. Wow. Cannot believe that we shared our song on Truth Social. So
Yeah.
feel very lucky for that.
Thank you, Mr. President. He said he was going to share the song. He does what he says. He shared the song. The interview, by the way, just for anybody who has not heard yet, I have a half-hour interview with the president. We played some clips this morning, but it will air in its entirety, uninterrupted and commercial-free, easy for me to say, at 3 o'clock today on America's Voice Live, the show that I host in the afternoons on Real America's Voice, if you want to hear the whole thing. And then at that same time, we will be posting it on our YouTube channel, so you can look at it at any time. Listen to the president and I talk about a whole variety of issues. I mean, in a half an hour, you can cover a lot of territory, and we did.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an incredible interview. I encourage everyone to go and watch it. A lot of new information and some very interesting information. But I want to, just when you think, Steve, California has reached peak absurdity, a new investigation suggests otherwise. Investigative journalist Chris Rufo has uncovered a taxpayer-funded program that provides meth pipes to homeless people. And I want you to hear this, and I want your take.
This is a meth pipe. I didn't get it from a drug dealer or Hunter Biden. I got it from a government-funded nonprofit in the middle of Los Angeles for free. This is the Skid Row Care Campus. It opened last year with a mission to do harm reduction. That might sound nice, but in reality, they're handing out drug paraphernalia to the homeless, no questions asked. We went inside with a hidden camera to see exactly what was going on.
We have oil burners, we have spray sheet, we have petroleum jelly.
It's simple. The staff gives out free pipes, needles, and drug supplies, and the homeless smoke crack and shoot fentanyl in the courtyard. No treatment, no rehab, no rules. The worst part about all this is that you're paying for it. Last year, local, state, and federal taxpayers sent $26 million to the Skid Row Care Campus. So your money is being used to fund left-wing activists and provide free meth pipes to the homeless. And it doesn't even
Can you
work.
believe this?
They say they're practicing harm reduction, but last year there were uncountable overdoses, 4 murders, and more than 1,000 police calls right around the campus. President Trump.
Oh my God.
Isn't that insane?
Peak absurdity. Is that the term you use? Peak absurdity.
Yeah.
That's an insult to the people that go to work every day. It's an insult to the mom who needs a little extra money to feed her kids today because the $26 million was spent on crack pipes and needles so they can have overdoses in the courtyard, which, by the way, takes other public services like ambulances and firefighters and EMTs. Good Lord, what is wrong with these people?
I just don't understand it. This is like encouraging the use of drugs, not helping them come up with a solution on how to get off the drugs. It is just absolutely backwards, and I just do not understand at all how we could fund this sort of program. It's insane.
Yeah, and it's not just Los Angeles. Look, there are similar programs in places like Chicago, New York. I mean, pick your poison.
Seattle, all of the big blue states
It's
have these sorts of programs, and it is outrageous. You know, speaking of these outrageous states, Steve, Mayor Mamdani says New York City's new government-run grocery stores will offer that 30% below retail prices. You know, that
That's
grocery
right.
store he's trying to open.
5.
I wonder though, this 5, this raises one big question for me, Steve. Will shoppers have to show ID proving they live in New York City before they can cash in?
That's a great question. I'm guessing they will, actually. And you have to
Yeah,
live in the
just
right
like when
borough.
you had to, you had to show your ID to pay for shoveling snow.
Yeah, you had to show your ID to get the job to shovel snow. That's right. Here's the problem with the grocery stores beyond the fact. So he says the staples. It was pasta and protein and all these, a whole list of things that would be sold at 30% less than the retail average. Well, how are the retail stores going to compete? You're just going to drive Kroger and whatever stores they have in New York City out of business? Is that what you
Right.
obviously? And the little bodegas that sell food and refreshments, they'll be gone. So you're going to destroy the regular businesses by taxing those same regular businesses to give you money to give away food at 30% below what it should cost.
Yeah.
It's Mamdani. I'm going to tell you, this guy's he's a disaster. He's just a disaster.
It's a system that won't work. It just simply won't work. There
It
is no
cannot.
such thing as a free lunch.
The last time
Right?
they
There's
tried
no
a
such
government
thing
run
as
grocery store, I think was Kansas City. It lasted about 3 or 4 years. The shelves were empty. The place was it was junk, and it failed. You know why? Because
Right.
socialism always fails.
That's right. Well, one more thing, Steve. I don't know if you saw this, but John Solomon is releasing some more information and also talking about that they have gotten their hands on intercepted intelligence that shows Ukrainian officials were trying to help Joe Biden win the 2024 presidential election using taxpayer dollars, American taxpayer dollars. The president has had this information for a few months and he's waiting for the right time to release it. But once again, things that we have been told in the past just aren't true. And why wouldn't Ukraine want to help Joe Biden win the presidency? It just reminds me of that whole Burisma conversation.
Oh yeah.
Where,
You know,
he's like, oh, I paid this guy for this I don't recall exactly what was said, but, I love
the good
this,
news
how
is this.
all of, yeah.
The good news is this. You and I have a great relationship with John Solomon. He's one of 3 that I can think of, really good reporters still alive in the wild that do actual investigations. John's the best. Catherine Herridge is very good. Cheryl Atkinson is very good, but there's not many. There are not many, and I feel blessed to have John
Well,
Solomon
doing
in our corner.
investigative journalism, Steve, requires hard work. And
Oh,
there
yeah.
just aren't that many people, it seems, that want to work that hard to go find information. They just, 24-hour news cycle,
That's
let's bam,
right.
bam, bam, get it done and move on next day.
Yeah. Then they go to happy hour. Ivy, love you.
Love you too, Steve. Hey, congratulations. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'll be right back. All right, let's just jump right back into it. We got time for a couple more phone calls here this morning. Mike from Tennessee, you're first, sir. How are you?
Greetings, Steve. Yeah, you were talking about Fauci earlier, and the thing that most people probably don't remember is Event 201, which was a tabletop exercise that began in September of 2019, where they wargamed and planned out the entire event in advance, and that's a smoking gun that shows that this was a conspiracy. Bill Gates was at the head of the table. Fauci was there. The whole crew need to be brought up on RICO, racketeering charges, and conspiracy. And the pardon that Fauci got, you can't legally give one pre-existing. You have to have an indictment. He wasn't indicted. So
you can't have a preemptive pardon.
There's no preemptiveness. It's not constitutional. You have to have an indictment by a grand jury. He was not indicted, so therefore, and here's the thing, in the state of Tennessee, we've got an actual constitutionalist candidate for governor that looks like he's going to win, and named Monty Fritz, and he's looking at getting the AG to prosecute Fauci and everybody else that's complicit in this entire scheme.
Under state law. Mike, great call. Event 201, you called it. I'm going to look that up. Take a closer look. One more call. Phil in Michigan. You get to round it out today, Phil. Got about 30 seconds.
Hi, Steve. I read a funny crawler the other day when there was that hacking of one AI by another AI company. And the crawler on Real America's Voice said, rogue agent, caught or suspected or whatever for this hack. And I thought, oh, wow, they got the guy. And it even had me, Steve. An agent in that context is not a person. An agent in that person is a piece of software.
That's
as
right.
in agentic AI. So
Yeah,
that
scary.
agent, that piece of software went out and found their competitor and hacked them and do this quickly. I'm telling you right now, that AI and that model did not wake up in the middle of the night, scratch its back, and say, wonder what I'm going to do today. Okay?
Got to leave it there, Phil. That's right. AI. Got to keep it in the sandbox, as they say. For you, fight the good fight, keep the faith. God bless America. This is Daybreak. And remember, only you, my friend, can save America.